Hello Taurus friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my June 2020 astrology. Taurus must knows. We have 2 out of 3 eclipses happening this month. One of them is in a nice angle for Taurus placements and one of them is a little challenging. We've got Mercury in retrograde in water sign, which is in a nice flow for you. We also still have Venus retrograde going until the end of the month and the shadow period lasting till the end of July. And that's in more of a challenging angle for you. So we've got a mixed bag here. We also have this major Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. This is part of the series of mischief making in the cosmos that is responsible for the coronavirus energies and the breakdown of the systems in the world. So we've got a second of 3 passes that are occurring this month. That happens to be in a nice angle for Taurus placements. So that's an interesting piece. We'll also look at that. So let's get right going here. First thing I want you to notice is that right from the beginning of the month, June 2nd, that Mercury shadow period starts and then runs through June 7th or then June 17th or 18th, the actual retrograde starts, goes retrograde till July 12th, and then the post shadow period lasts until July 26th. Venus is in retrograde still until around the 24th or 25th, depending on your time zone. And then that post-transit shadow period lasts until around July 29th, at which point the Mars shadow period will begin. Okay, so this year entrenched in retrogrades, bringing the focus inward, bringing the focus backward, is really a time to tie up loose ends, go back to things that were unfinished, and make a nice clean slate for forward movement in the future as we wrap up these old things. Some of the things might be things you go back to proactively, like, okay, you wanted to paint your house and Venus retrograde is bringing that energy back to you and you already picked the colors and, you deal with the things that were on your plate. You wanted your garage door fixed. You deal with that as it comes. And some of the things will come to you and it's not your own initiating. So just a lot of things that are going to be coming up that had been swept under the rug or that had been forgotten about, that could be joyful things that surface back from the past. But the forward movement that comes, a lot of it might only come from kind of the spirit of getting things done that already were in motion rather than new projects, unless they're kind of low stakes, or because something comes to you and you have to decide what to do with it. All right, so let's see. We're going to look at all of this stuff in the chart. So let's just get over there. We're going to talk about mostly things or a lot of things that are true for all Taurus placements, but let's see where you're at in the spectrum because I am going to differentiate out in some cases for the early, middle, and late. So early is basically April born or 0 to 9 degrees. Middle is May 1st through 10th or 10 to 19 degrees, and late is May 11th through the rest of the sign or 20 to 29 degrees. Okay, so got these lists of things that I want to talk about. I'm going to use the early degree chart, but this is going to be for everybody unless I otherwise say. The first thing to know about this month is that Gemini energy wants to bring you out of your shell. Okay, that's how it works for everybody, but since that's not in a harmonious flow for Taurus, it might feel like a little bit of a stretch, but it could be a really good thing. Okay, so the energy of coming out of one's shell can be a very subjective experience. And this could mean that things start to open up a little bit and we actually are able to get out of the house, right? And then you get out of your shell that way. Or things might mean you're just starting to do things a little bit differently. You're starting to look at things a little bit differently. And certainly one of the opportunities of this time, one of the best ways to use the energy is by trying to do some things different. Taurus energy likes its routine and likes its, stability and the things that goes on or that go on. And then when Gemini energy comes, it's like scattered, it's all over the place, it's dizzying. So in that way, it can be a little bit annoying to Taurus placements. But if you take it as an opportunity to stretch your neural pathways further into different places of your brain, then you can do that. So if we are off of quarantine and it's safe to be out and about, then you might find this energy brings local or other types of travel, okay? If not, then it's not going to manifest that way, but it could manifest in the way of you like doing some things different. And even if it does manifest to open up where we're free to do other things, you still might take the opportunity to make some different choices. So for example, if you go walk every day and you leave your driveway and you make a right, maybe this day you make a left. And the types of synchronicities and things that can come from stretching out a little bit is really what Spirit wants for you now. Even if you like try to eat with your left hand, anytime we do something that's not the normal way we do it, no matter how small, it's actually amazing for our brain health. It's amazing for our longevity of our memory and brain function. And it can be amazing to help you see things a little differently and to open up to solutions or to crack out of, being stuck and invite in some welcome change. So I hope that this Gemini stellium brings you welcome change. But if it doesn't, know that, it's going to pass. These energies that are in Gemini here are going to cycle into Cancer, which will be more suitable, for the way that you already are doing things. Also know this month, a must know is to expect an emotional month, okay? So the emotions this month are going to be very strong because the Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Cancer. It's going to go there and then come back. And that often brings a lot of emotion. And the solar eclipse, and even though these are both in nice placements for you, it just brings you into the realm of the emotion and to the feeling. Because the solar eclipse and Mercury are both in Cancer, which is going to bring home and family and housing and ancestry and real estate and working from home and schooling from home, and all of these things about the home sector is going to be brought in focus in a major way. And for those of you who are between 4 and 15 degrees, or like, say, April around 24th or so, through around May 4th. Wait, let's see. That's 11, May 4th or 5th. You all are going to have Mercury giving you extra kisses. So it increases the odds that blessings from the past, information from the past, anything from the past could have a more positive tilt. Now, everyone in the Taurus spectrum can have that extra positive tilt because, like I said, the water matches well with the earth. But those of you in this time frame, or from 4 to 15 degrees, are going to have more personal contacts from that transit. Okay. That leads me to the discussion of the solar eclipse. The solar eclipse also being in Cancer is bringing new beginnings in the home and family sectors, as we talked about. And that is going to actually be predominantly in the second house, like everything else is going to be. Look at this second house. That's early degree, that's middle degree, that's late degree. The sun is going to be a little bit later to join the party, and Venus is going to be later to join the party, but these two are going to go in here for the later degree a little bit in weeks to come. But regardless of where you are on the Taurus spectrum, second house is brought up. Solar eclipse, bringing new beginnings, and all of this other energy. So what does that mean? Second house has to do with money, finances, has to do with earned income, how you make your money, how you spending, saving, paying off debt. So expect a very strong focus in the financial sector and the many ways that can look. And also what's very important to note, and this is true for everybody, but there's an extra tilt of it for Taurus because of this second house thing, is that this Pluto and Jupiter energy coming together in the sky, and then Saturn teeter-tottering from the end of Capricorn, connecting with these. This has to do with the question of sustainability. When the market crashed in 2008, Pluto made its entrance into Capricorn, saying, hey, this is what we're doing for the systems of the world now. Pluto blows things up, breaks them up, and builds new ones, okay? So Jupiter comes, amplifies it. Guess what else happened in 2008? Jupiter got into Capricorn, and they got together. So now we have it 12 years later happening again, right? And it's happening again. So in the 2008 fall, the things that were hit the hardest were the unsustainable markets, okay? And so what was focused on there was like the real estate market, the lending practices. And so people who were on these, interest-only loans that they couldn't really afford, but they got these special loans that they really shouldn't have ever gotten, was completely unsustainable. And those were the people that were hit the most. And I was in that. So I know I was like, everything was completely decimated in my financial world from that experience. But I understood what was going on from the astrological perspective as I was studying it, okay? And so I came to understand this topic of sustainability. When you're living sustainably, when your work hours are sustainable, when your relationships are sustainable, when, you know, your food, your eating, your lifestyle is all sustainable, when ruckuses come, it helps you to hold your grounding easier. And that's what the topic is being brought up here universally for everybody, is when the systems and the individual experiences are not sustainable, that has to be addressed, and that's what's being addressed. And that is part of the big topic that's coming up for Taurus, is about the financial sustainability. And this also could have to do with environmental things, with, you know, making more of your own things, you know, growing more of your own things, having water harvesting, things like that are also part of what can come into this second house. And you can see it's very well focused. So the more you understand about the second house, the more you'll see exactly all of these, you know, different ways that this is going to come up here. And I've mentioned a lot of them. So you've got the, you know, Venus retrograde energy there. The sun is there lighting it up. You have just a tremendous amount of energy. And so in case you are a savvy astrology person who caught what I said about the solar eclipse bringing new beginnings in the second house, you might say, well, Annie, why is the eclipse happening in the second house when, well, actually you can't see it in this picture, but when the third house is ruled by Cancer in the Gemini chart? And that is because the eclipse is at 0 degrees. It's the very first degree. So really only Taurus placements who were born on the first day of Taurus are going to even have that on the line of the third house. But there's always an orb of energy. So even for those of you in the first couple of days, even up to the first 5 days, it might happen right here influencing this third house, but there's always an orb of energy around. It's not, you know, an eclipse point isn't one point. It's like this, okay? So it ranges, kicks back into the second house. And for every degree you move into the sign, it kicks the eclipse point back further and further away from the third house and very solidly into the second house. Okay, so we're looking at the middle degree chart here, and 0 degrees, if that's, you know, there, 0 degrees is going to be back here. In the early degree placement, you can't see because this is coming up Gemini here, but this is like a 0 point here. So it's like on the line. But the further you go back, here's the late degree, 0 degrees of Cancer is all the way back here. Okay, that's why it's the second house that's really being accented for you. Now, if you want to understand more about this second house, you can watch my eclipse video. So what you will look for, and this is all Taurus placements, eclipses in second house or Taurus. You can search for Annie Botticelli and then eclipses in second house. You can go to my homepage, anniehelpsyouTV.com. That's my YouTube channel. And you can look for the eclipse playlist and look at the Taurus one. And this will also give you information about how all those other placements in the second house can manifest, because it's like a full-on discussion about second house energy. So you can get a really good footing about how this can manifest. Those of you in the early spectrum, also watch my eclipses in third house or Gemini, because that you're going to have some energy in there too, early degree. Okay, especially earlier in the sign. And then all of you can watch eclipses in Sagittarius video, the eclipse in Cancer video, the eclipse in Capricorn video, because those are the signs that they're in. Okay, so we look at the sign and then we look at the house, and that shows us if we want to do a really good comprehensive job of seeing all the areas really covered by these eclipses. So that solar eclipse is going to focus that's the one on the 20th or 21st of June. Bring this thing back here. This one here is going to really highlight that money sector. This is also highlighting the money sector, and that's like a lot of energy. Okay, so now let's look at this Jupiter-Pluto conjunction and see where the boom might be for you. In general, everybody's experiencing this boom, I call it, of Jupiter and Pluto. Again, we're using the early chart, but for right now, that doesn't matter. It's for everybody. All right, so this boom here, Jupiter is amplifying, Pluto is destroying and rebuilding, Capricorn is systems and structures, also your skeletal system and structure. So you have to guard your skeletal system and structure more. For Taurus placements, this makes a 120-degree angle with the energy of Taurus, but it's those of you towards the end of the sign. So like it's going to be at 24 degrees. So the closer to 24 degrees you are, we'll say like 19 degrees through 29 degrees will be the most affected. And the closer you are to the actual 24 degrees, that will hit your placement. And that will be very notable. It'd be very surprising if you had that placement and this was occurring in a trine and you didn't see something from it. So this can have a lot to do with your work out in the world and money. Okay. So that is especially true. The late degree placements will get that extra kiss, but the early degree placements have the boom in the 10th house. The middle degree placements have the boom in the 9th house, and it's a little bit on the edge of 10. You might see it there. And the late degree placements have the boom clearly in the 9th house. Okay, so that means boom means ruckus, bad, not good, intense, things you have to deal with, or boom means, wow, money comes out of nowhere, or this amazing, potential comes out of nowhere, or like for early and middle, especially like this job comes out of nowhere, this work, something having to do with your dad, and authority figures. For the middle and late degree placements, this can lean towards publishing. This can lean towards writing, speaking, traveling if things open up. Eventually things are going to open up. We're not going to be in quarantine forever. And these connections with international audiences, even if they're virtual, can come up. And so the boom could be there. The boom also can have to do with teaching or learning, or your job within the teaching or learning, or creating curriculum and, doing your teaching in an alternative way, or something having to do with your church or your spiritual studies or your belief systems. Okay, so middle and late degree people, you've got a big chance for boom, like breakthroughs where you see things a certain way, and then like your belief system changes, or you get new information that makes you see things in a different way. So it could be very, very broadening. And in general, there is this energy of broadening that is occurring for Taurus this month. Having your horizons expanded, regardless of whether that's a virtual experience or a physical geographic experience, is really on tap for you for this month. So we have the Capricorn eclipse in July. I will talk about where that hits for you in the July report, and I'll have that report out sometime the end of May probably, so you'll have it in plenty of time to understand what's going on. But do know that that is in a nice angle for you too, and that's the end of the Cancer Capricorn eclipse cycle. So between the middle of 2018 the middle of 2020, we had these cycles at work, so you'll notice a lot of culmination, grand finales, endings, major beginnings, major new chapters starting, and those were in nice angle for you. The Sagittarius eclipse, this one here, this one is on June 5th, and that is in more of a challenging angle, and that is going to be the trend. So the rest of 2020 and then all of 2021 is the Sagittarius Gemini eclipse cycle. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. A challenging angle often will make us do something that we're supposed to be doing because we get uncomfortable and then we have to do it. So you might experience some discomfort, but it doesn't have to be bad. And the way I see it is like it's really continuing this trend of expanding your horizons, bringing you out of your shell, bringing you out of your comfort zone, bringing you to see and experience new things, and can have a lot to do with education, teaching, learning, and really just also expanding your spiritual horizons. If you want to see exactly where that's going to hit in your chart, watch my May report, because I'll show you in the chart more towards the end where that's going to be, and then you can watch the videos that I refer you to for that. So if you would like to have more information, definitely look in the notes below this video. I have the links of my how the Astrology 2020 explains the coronavirus. I have all of these wonderful Venus retrograde pieces. You can see the information on Mercury retrograde, or you can search for Anna Botticelli Mercury retrograde. Also, you can go to my websites, anniehelpsyou.com, to see lots of blogs, cozybysweetstarlight.com to see written horoscopes a month early, as well as all kinds of other fun blogs. If you'd like to learn astrology, either for your personal or professional purposes, if you're in quarantine and you're stir crazy, or you're thinking about making astrology part of your work, you will love my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery course. You can see that course and all of my other courses, including a bunch of free courses, at lumelife.com, L-U-M-E life.com. That's Luminous Life Multiversity, my school online. And if you want to continue your journey in syncing up with the natural rhythms of the universe, find my book, Planetology. If you search for Annie Botticelli, Planetology, I've written this beautiful hardcover reference book that is full of practices and projects that help you to naturally align with the natural rhythms of the universe. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.